Well, good day and welcome to you. It is August the 10th, and I hope wherever you are, perhaps whenever you're listening to this video, you're having a wonderful day. Now, if you're new to Search for Signs, my name is Gary Willing. Even though I can't see you, it's really good to see you. Now, what do we talk about here? Well, we talk about the emergence of Maitreya and the Masters of Wisdom. We talk about why are they coming back? Why is it important that they're coming back now at this time? And of course, what does it mean for you and everyone else that they're doing this? And by we, I do mean that from time to time I bring on guest speakers, those kind of things, but also the we is those people who are asking questions and I'm trying to answer. We're all part of the same conversation. Even though I'm the only one with the mic right now, this is just kind of the way it's working out. But as people start to ask questions, we start to learn more about this. So I always invite questions. You can post your questions as a comment. You can email me at searchforsigns@mail.com. That's one way to kind of join the discussion. If you want to answer your own questions but don't want to join the discussion, that's perfectly understandable too. And I do recommend checking out the links in the description of this video and every one of the other videos I put up in order to help you kind of answer your own questions. At least gives you a start. It might not be the end all and be all of all the info on the web about this information, about Maitreya, about miracles, about UFO activity and so forth. But hopefully it will help give you a start. Now, if you have listened to these videos before, I always want to welcome you back. It's great that you're coming back. I really appreciate it. And for those of us who have heard these videos before, this would be kind of old news for you. But for those coming into this information for the first time, a lot of people, if not everyone that listens to these videos, views it as religious information. And from my perspective, it's not. It's funny that I'm kind of on two different we're on two different wavelengths when it comes to this information. I see it about the priorities of humanity. I see about the need for peace, the need to end hunger, the need to solve the environment and so forth, and where this information fits in, and of course the hope that it brings. If you kind of believe it on whatever level you believe, it would give you a little greater sense of hope based on the problems that you see and so forth. But also, I think that this information ties into the fact that we are one. It talks about miracles, and the many miracle signs that are happening all over the world in all walks of life to people of all religious faiths and those people of no particular religious faith, as well as the problems that are affecting each and every one of us. Doesn't matter what country you've come from, what language you speak, what the color of your skin is, your age, your religious background. The problems of the world, like the environment, are affecting you as well. And it's also for each and every one of us to do something about it. And according to the teacher, if we don't do something about something like the environment or bringing about peace, well, it will lead to the destruction for each and every one of us. So that's why I think this information is so crucial. And you don't have to change your religious beliefs in order for it to have value for you. You can see for yourself that these miracles are happening all around the world. They're happening to every single religious group and people of no particular religious faith. And as you start to dive into the problems that are facing humanity, which I'm sure you're well aware of, perhaps by seeing it from a slightly different angle, you'll see that it's actually teaching us that we are one as well. Maybe give you a little greater sense of hope about us getting through it. And even better, hopefully it will give you a greater sense of need to do something about it. So hopefully we'll look at it like that too. Because like I said, it's not about religion. Now, I do have some questions to cover in this particular video and a couple comments, and some of them do pertain to religion, and it's not my fault. I'm not the one asking the questions, but I try to answer questions as they come my way, and this just happens to be where people's headspace is about this information. So anyway, the first question was actually from a couple videos ago, and I do apologize. I answered one of his questions and I did not answer the other questions. So this is kind of a little bit delayed. But first comment, he said, the God of Christianity never says he will only bless Christians. Even Jesus did miracles for non-Jews. Couldn't agree more. Now, where the point of what I'm saying, the reason why I think these miracles are showing humanity that we are one because they're happening to every single religious group, is because no particular religious group, and it's not just the Christians, it could be the Hindus, it could be the Muslims as well. I mean, I'm putting everybody in the same category. Cannot claim ownership of those miracles, cannot say that those miracles are only happening for them. You see what I'm saying? And the hope and the healing and all that that goes along with these miracles and these strange phenomena are affecting each and every one of those groups. But I do think that the miracles are showing us that we are one. We're one family. They're just different beliefs upon the same truth. But belief is just belief. Maitreya says it's like a ladder to get you to the roof. And once you get on the roof, you can throw the ladder away. You don't need it anymore. I guess unless you want to get back down again. But it's just he's just using it as a symbol. You see what I'm saying? But for the most part, belief is not the end all and be all of anything. The truth is. It gets you to the truth, but it's not necessarily the truth. And that's where I think humanity has gotten it backwards, is they think that the belief is the end all and be all of truth. And is truth itself. It's not. That's why so many people see the truth in such different ways. We're all speaking about the same thing. So hopefully that helps. But the Christ, from an esoteric standpoint, is not the one and true only Son of God. The Christ is a being, like Maitreya, like the Buddha, which we only had 2 on this planet at this moment in time, can embody the love nature of God, the Christ principle of God. That same love nature and Christ principle that sits within the hearts of all of us, that we manifest from a little second here, a couple minutes there, maybe an hour or 2 here throughout our life, because we're humanity, we're not perfect. But as we progress, it'll start to be more and more and more and more and more. We dive into it more. We become more creative. We start to see the world more from that perspective and not from the individual competition, fearful perspective, to the point where we master that divinity. And by that I mean it sits with us all the time, 100%, no matter what. And nothing can pull you out of it. No amount of stress, personal problems, suffering, pain, whatever, will pull you from that perspective that you are divine, that what you identify with as divinity. Then you become a master. Now, not every master chooses to become a Christ. It's very, very rare for that to happen. But Maitreya, it's been said, and as well as the Buddha who worked through Gautama Buddha, took it a step further and went through the process of learning how to embody that principle, that Christ principle, that love nature of God. So it's a step further, really. But other masters move on and far beyond where Maitreya is without ever doing that. That's just a path that one of them takes. Now, the Christ is for the whole world. The hope for humanity is for all of humanity. The truth that's available is for every single one. It doesn't matter whether you're a Christian, doesn't matter whether you don't believe in religion or whatever. If you're Jewish or you're Hindu or Muslim, it does not matter. Buddhist, doesn't matter. You can experience the truth without being under the umbrella of some kind of ideology. And that's what I think these miracles are also showing us. And that's the truth, that we are one. And so hopefully that kind of explains it. But I think we're talking about the same thing, Benjamin, but in a different way. And Jesus was all for humanity too. So I mean, and that's where I think the Christians got it wrong, because the Christians think that Jews, Jesus is just for them. That you have to believe Jesus the way that they believe Jesus in order for Jesus to, to get to Jesus or to get to God or whatever, and believe in that church and go to that church and give all your devotion to that church or whatever in order to do that. And I don't think there's any truth to that at all. That's what I'm saying. So hopefully that helps. All right. Now I'm going to skip through some of the other comments that I think that are just, I'll leave them up and you can read them if you want. All right. So, and this kind of goes along the lines of what I just said. You become the master as you seek the master, but in reality, you already are the master. Awareness. Well, thank you, Homer Spring Farms. Yeah. The esoteric truth of it is that the first master is the master within the heart. It's the soul. That's what inspires the person to even start to seek the truth about divinity. But it's a process. It takes time, and there's a path that we take and so forth. And, esoterically, these masters in the future will be teaching us that path. They know the path quite well because they've already gone through it, and they know the steps that it takes. And they know that average humanity is not very advanced at this time. But yet there are certain members of humanity that are starting to work their way toward the spiritual kingdom, but it's a process. It's very slow, of course, but eventually in time, more and more and more and more people will start to accelerate that path for themselves and for humanity as itself, because we'll have wonderful examples to look to, the masters, Maitreya himself, and that's the whole point. We'll see how they live. We see how they love. We'll feel their intelligence. We'll read about their wisdom. We'll see them on TV in that way. We'll meet them, engage with them, and see how they interact with us and be affected by their love in the same way that we are affected by each other's fear today, in the exact same way. And it will open us up a lot faster than it would if they weren't here. That is why they are here. That's why they're coming back. You know, the process for their return was expected to be another 1,000 years from now, but they had to accelerate it because of the fact that we are going right to the precipice. As Benjamin Creme said, you know, humanity's going to walk right up to the edge. You know, there's not going to be any room left, you know. And if we take one half a little whatever step forward, we're going to fall. That's how far we're going to take it. But he said, we're not going to go into the precipice. We're going to turn around. We're going to accept the principle of sharing. We're going to start to see ourselves as one. We're going to start to solve our problems and those kind of things. But it starts with the principle of sharing. That's why Maitreya is already on TV, already starting to work the process. It's a slow process, but he's working it. So hopefully that helps. Now, the question that I had said, I've had the thought occur to me recently that all of reality, even the most unpleasant aspects, might be wish fulfillment of the subconscious desires of the mind. Do you think that this is possible? Well, if I had to interpret what you said, Paul, I would say yes, kind of. Perhaps another way of looking at it, I'm not saying that you're incorrect in saying what you said. I'm just trying to relate it back to something that the language that I have in my head about it, I guess, is it's more about perception. You know, all the ills, all the suffering in the world, individually, societally, globally, all comes from the illusion that we are separate, that we believe ourselves to be separate. There's no truth to it. Even our illnesses come from that. So the perception will eventually be changed to where we start to see life more as it really is, which is one, unity, the truth of that in every aspect. You know, to allow to be free of mind, free to explore their own creativity without someone imposing their will on you, whether it's a parent, a teacher, friends, society as a whole, government-wise, those kind of things. Have the time and the leisure time to be able to explore that, which will only be brought about from justice, where everybody has their needs taken care of. That's where sharing fits into it. And I like to say this too, because the divisions in the world, especially politically, are based off of the same truth, really, if you look at it. And like I said, I'm not talking about the parties, the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. I'm talking about the people, the thoughts. Because I think that the political parties are corrupt in their own way, just differently. You know, they're not meeting the needs of the people. When a Democrat's in power, the needs of the people aren't being met, just as when the Republicans are in power, their people aren't being met. Ideologically, I guess is a better way of saying it. Sorry, excuse me. The people are fighting for, standing for, marching for, if that's the case, the same truth. Freedom for the right, are marching for what they consider to be freedom, liberty, those kind of things. The left is marching for what they consider to be equality or justice. You can't have one without the other. And eventually, in the very near future, I think, when we finally wake up to the fact that we're so divided and how dangerous it is to be so divided, they'll start to come together a little bit more and synthesize more of their viewpoints based on the fact that they are fighting for the same truth, you know. But it all stems from the perception that we are either separate, which is an illusion, there's no truth to it, or seeing life as it really is as the truth, which we are one. That's it. And then the joy that comes out of experiencing that unity will displace the all the ills, all the suffering, all the anxiety and fear that comes from believing that you're separate. But we have examples. In the end, toward the ends of all our lives, as we are ending this life, going on into the next one, we'll start to see these masters one by one. We'll see the master who was Jesus. We'll see Maitreya. We'll see the master who was John, the master who was Paul, Peter, and those kind of things. We'll be able to talk to them. We'll interact with them. We'll see them on TV interacting with crowds of people and so forth. We'll see how it is to see life as it truly is as one. We'll have examples. Where right now we don't have any examples of it, except for maybe a few bright lights here or there. The Krishnamurtis of the world, having to read about it in our biblical text, which doesn't do us much good. It does a little bit, but not as much as it would be seeing and interacting with Jesus, on a daily basis, or seeing him on TV. We have to read about it. We have to, and then we have other people who don't want to think about it. They want somebody else to think about what the truth is for them and then tell them, and that's where the danger comes in. And then we draw conclusions based on what they say, and then we live our life like that, build up our own life, and then we become divided because somebody else isn't seeing it the same way that we concluded it to be. Does that make sense? So maybe I'm speaking about the same thing that you're saying, maybe not. I don't know. But hopefully that does help. And again, Paul, hopefully you're doing well. All right. Now, I do want to end this video by reading one of these articles that was written by Benjamin Creme, his master. It was published in Share International on a monthly basis, these articles. And I believe these articles are being written by Benjamin Creme's master. You don't have to believe that in order for it to have some kind of value for you. Now, if you enjoy hearing these, and they do offer you a sense of hope, or you starting to see some of the wisdom in the words coming from this master, perhaps I suggest, checking out the Share International website. Link is in the description. They have articles of these posted. You can read it yourself. It's far better for you to read it for yourself than for me to read it to you. This is just, a substitute for what really needs to be done. You reading it for yourself. But anyway, let me read this and then we'll call it a day. All right. So this one is entitled, excuse me, my throat is kind of dry. Men Awaken to Maitreya. From now, men will take more seriously the idea that help is at hand, that they are not alone, not without aid in their grief and helplessness. Recent events have brought again to humanity the hope that at point of their greatest need, when they had all but relinquished hope of succor, somehow their prayers would be answered and their pain assuaged. So potent has been the response to the essence of Maitreya's words, however quietly or obliquely uttered, that many already feel heartened and reassured that all will be well, that the future for man will be just and kind, even better than they dared to hope. Many are already beginning to doubt that this man is really, quote unquote, one of us, but is someone sent from above to answer their call for help and to ease their burden. Many doubtless find his words unhelpful and obstructive to their desires, but many more by far sense the simple truth of his ideas and await eagerly their fruition. Thus quietly and steadily does Maitreya aid the plight of men. Some have already recognized him and pray to him. Others are glad to hear aloud the answers to their many problems and await the opportunity to play a part in their solution. Thus do the simple words of Maitreya echo through the world. Thus do they awaken in men the hope of renewal. When enough men are so awakened and ready for change, Maitreya will increase the tempo of energy of his delivery and galvanize millions to call for action on their own behalf. Men must understand that action must come from themselves, else nothing new can happen. When men realize this, they will act spontaneously and with hearts ablaze with hope. So will it be, and so will men fulfill their destiny and create a better framework for the new age which opens before them. Maitreya is at the beginning only of his task to guide men into right relationship, but already finds that his words encourage and soon will galvanize millions to act and claim their destiny, not through revolution, but through revelation of their own
Remember
divinity.
to take action and help SOP save our planet. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to talking to you again in future videos.